Getting this wrong can kill your connection with fans and results in your matches not getting over. So today, let's get out the cosmic scales and weigh what you should be doing as a babyface against what you should never, ever, ever do. I'm Mike Quackenbush, and this is Till We Make It. If you want to succeed at a higher level in professional wrestling, subscribe to my channel right now. Before we dive in today, I want to thank my 3 newest patrons who are supporting the work of Till We Make It over on Patreon. Welcome aboard, Kay Smith, Nicholas Lind, and Michael Tipton. I am delighted to have you as part of our community. And if you'd like to be shouted out in a future episode of Till We Make It, come and join us over on Patreon. A link is down below in the descriptus. Today's video is loaded with insight for when you work as a babyface, and perhaps as an exercise, you might even want to summon to mind the last time you performed as a babyface, and we'll put your work to the test up against the concepts we're covering in this video. We're going to dissect what bad baby faces get wrong and what good baby faces get right. A good baby face creates momentum in their match through urgency. They demonstrate that they are trying to win. And how can you do this the next time you're working as a baby face? Well, it's surprisingly easy. When you knock the heel down to the mat, try to pin them. When you get the advantage, clamp on a submission hold and try to make them tap out. You should try repeatedly to get to your winning moves, like your finisher. This shows that you are trying to win the match. It creates an urgency, and that's where a match's forward momentum comes from. When this is absent from a match, it kind of feels like the whole thing is going nowhere. I want to give you an example of exactly this from a match I happened to watch recently. Just a few weeks ago on Monday Night Raw, Seth Rollins tried repeatedly to give his stomp to Austin Theory. In fact, he tries 3 times in the first minute of the match. But this perfectly demonstrates the urgency with which he wants to win. That provided the match with momentum. A bad babyface, dead cells. You know what I mean by this? This is a moment when you as a babyface, rather than shining out your pain to the audience, you deactivate your facial expressions, your voice, and your body language. You turn off all 3 of your theatrical tools. You're not making any noise, your expression is blank, and you are motionless on the mat. Now, I'll grant you an exception if you are selling a knockout blow, but other than that, you don't want to be dead selling. The first guy to ever mentor me in pro wrestling, Ace Darling, often used to tell me when he'd catch me dead selling face down in the mat, "Mike, pick your chin up. There are no fans down there to sell to. They're all out there." This next one is really powerful, and a lot of today's working pros are getting it wrong. A good babyface sells to overcome the pain. And this is made up of a couple facets. So number 1, it's essential. When you are booked on as a babyface, your selling has to display vulnerability. It's essential. It's so essential, in fact, I dedicated a whole chapter of my book, 7 Keys to Becoming a Better Performer, to this exact topic. But to earn that deeper investment, the emotional investment of sympathy that supplies the heat of Act 2, your selling has to communicate to the audience your willingness to overcome. Your selling must show that you persist in spite of the pain. If you want to seek out some examples of a wrestler I happen to think is a master at this exact thing, you can watch Ricky the Dragon Steamboat's matches with Ric Flair before he goes to the WWF. Then, when Steamboat moves to the WWF, watch any of his matches with the Macho Man Randy Savage. Or after he leaves and goes back and does another trilogy with Ric Flair, you could watch any of those. Or later on in WCW, he's got a great series against Ravishing Rick Rude. And all of these, to me, are peak period Steamboat, where he gets so much juice out of his selling. It's like he doesn't have to do any offense at all. All I want to do is watch him sell all day long. Incidentally, If you'd like to see a separate video made in this style but covering the heel side of the equation, please let me know down below in the comments and I'll make it for you. A bad baby face doesn't kick out when they're being pinned. A bad baby face puts their foot on the ropes. I think this is a mistake for anyone performing as a babyface, and I saw a very high-profile example of this fairly recently. A few months back, on the night of John Cena's retirement match in Washington, D.C., the WWE debuted Sol Ruca on Saturday night's main event, which is a pretty high-profile program. And given it was Cena's farewell, there was a ton of attention, a ton of interest, a ton of fans watching that program. It was an opportunity to make a strong babyface in one performance. And I think Bayley was the exact right choice as a heel for Ruca. But unfortunately, a mistake was made. After Bayley hit the rose plant, rather than Ruca kicking out, they had Ruca just drape her foot on the rope. And I do think this is a mistake. If Ruca had kicked out, this would have made her look stronger. It would have conveyed to the audience that she doesn't take shortcuts. And there's no doubt in my mind, I would bet you any blizzard of any size we can find at any Dairy Queen, the reason this choice was made was because the producer who assembled the match thought having the foot draped protects Bayley's rose plant. But I'm of the opinion, strong baby faces sell tickets. Finishing moves don't. Here's one I feel like no one talks about anymore. It's a little old school wrestling psychology. A good babyface is content to wrestle the heel until the heel turns the match into a fight. And I want to tell you what this means to me. When you're the babyface in a match, you should be able to out-wrestle the heel. But eventually, this will frustrate the heel, so much so that they will change the wrestling match into a fight. And it's in that moment that a competent babyface knows that they've got to fight fire with fire. The babyface will simply wrestle until the heel gives them no other choice. A bad babyface ignores the prompting of the crowd. And I want to get really specific on this one so you understand exactly what I'm talking about. So imagine that you're working as the babyface and I'm your heel and I've got you clamped in a chin lock and we are down on the mat. We're right in the middle of the heat. And the audience, they start to clap and stomp and chant your name. They are prompting you to do something. We've built this up organically without having to do any of that obnoxious cheerleading, and the crowd has just very naturally rallied behind you. If you choose to ignore them in that moment, I think you're a bad babyface. And I know maybe we don't have anything called in that moment. Maybe we're down there clamped in that chin lock because we're both blown up and desperately need to breathe. But the reality is, if the crowd starts prompting you, you have to react. You've got to respond to what they are doing. Because if you don't, if you ignore them, they're never going to give you another chance. You had that chance and you squandered it. And that's why, when they start prompting, you start responding. This next one is so simple. It's amazing how few performers are using it. A good babyface is always advancing on their opponent until the referee stops them. Here's an easy example of this that I really liked. On a recent Raw, there was a tag match in which Paige kept advancing on Roxanne Perez until they ended up in the corner and the referee forced the separation. As a babyface, don't back away. Don't back up from your opponent. And if you've got one of those pesky moves that requires a lot of separation from your opponent, find a way to get to it in one of your spots, like coming off of the ropes, rather than giving the visual to the audience of you backing away from your opponent. These last two are essential if you want to level up your next match. And while one is a little obvious, the other is rather subtle. A good babyface gives the audience what they want. And I want to break this one down because it's it's easy to misinterpret this one. What does it mean to give the audience what they want? Well, it means that the babyface is wrestling. It is dynamic, and it's interesting. It doesn't have to be fast, fancy, or flashy as long as the audience is engaged. That's all you need. So that when the heel takes that away from them by shutting the baby face down, it generates heat. A good baby face gives the audience what they want so that the heel can then take it away. No wrestler has better understood this in the last 25 or so years than Rey Mysterio. He understands this give and take perfectly. His wrestling is dynamic and interesting, and he gives the audience as much as he can with the time he's been allotted so that the heel can take it away to garner heat. A bad baby face bumps too much in the heat. During Act 2, the heat of the match, there has to be a balance between when you bump as a babyface and when you simply crumble to the mat. And getting this balance right preserves the sound of bumps for a really important transition in the match, your comeback. That's when we want the fastest and loudest bumps in the match to occur so that it signals to the audience the climax of the performance is on the way. And a bad babyface spends the entire heat bumping, giving that sound away. To make sure you don't fall into that trap in your very next match, strike a balance between when you bump and when you crumble. The work of Till We Make It would not be possible without the support of the people you see on screen right now. These are my patrons over on Patreon, and you can join their ranks. Be part of our community. Get episodes early and ad-free, and an exclusive episode of Till We Make It comes out every single Monday. Jump on that link, come and join us, and thank you very much.